Before you get into the real estate market, get clarity, perspective, and the information you need.
I've been listening to you, and I love your show.
Right here with broker owner Dan Gemus, host of the Dan Gemus Real Estate Show.
Okay, we are back on this snowy Saturday afternoon. Kathy Talbot in studio with me. Reminder, our fun question today is, if money were no object, what's the first home improvement project you would tackle? And the answers are just streaming in. We're going to keep sharing them live on the show here. We've got more coming up. But first, we've got our good friend Ron Bondy from the Super Mortgage team on the phone with us. Hey, Ron, how are you?
Fantastic. How are you guys doing?
Well, we're doing fantastic. So tell us, if money were no object, Ron, what's the first home improvement project you tackle at your house?
I would build a barn, a secondary storage area. Yep.
Okay.
100%.
Just for more storage or just for something else?
To fix things.
Okay.
There's always something breaking here that needs fixing. Somewhere enclosed to fix it would be really nice, especially, on a day like today.
Yeah.
Heated with electricity is always great.
No doubt. Oh, my goodness. Well, there you go. Good answer. All right. So our topic today is all about, it's a hot topic, really, variable versus fixed. And there's also a new product. Is it a new product to the market, Ron, or just a new rate?
It's a newer product that is taking that's getting a lot of recognition. But
okay.
But what I want to make sure that people know is that this product might not be the best scenario for you.
Well, you've piqued everyone's interest, so let's talk about it.
So, let's start with variable versus fixed. So variable, obviously in the last 5 years did not perform very well. Put a lot of people in some hard places that took it. But people have to look at historically. The last 5 years, we've never had so many increases. None of this was ever even thought about in the last 40 years. And yes. The last 40 years, the variable has outperformed a 5-year fixed. Okay. So that's historical. And, we've never had this many rate increases. So you got to look at that too.
Yes.
So right now, you can get a variable just as much as you can get a 5-year fixed. And everybody knows that the rates are coming down. And so why not take the variable? And within the summer, you should be less than what you could have walked into a fixed. And by the end of this year, you'll probably be a half a point cheaper than what you could have got locked in for 5 years. So then you would have 4 years at a lower rate. Now, the other good thing about a variable is that it can be locked into a fixed at any point. So if the rates come down enough that you feel comfortable locking in and you want to be safer, because there is some risk to a variable, you want to be safer, you can always flip that into a fixed.
Now, Ron, this is a question I often get asked is, are you signing a variable for a determined amount of time, or is it just open? And is there penalties if you sell your home and you're in a variable rate?
So you should never take an open rate unless you're going to pay your mortgage off in less than 6 months, because the rate is so high for an open rate, it just doesn't make sense for anybody to take it. It makes more sense to take a variable and pay the penalty if you were in that open for 7 months, say. Okay. So the way a variable works is, yes, you are locked into 5 years, a 5-year term. Now, but what that means is that term can always be switched into a fixed rate. So if, let's say, you've had your variable for 1 year, okay, so it's a 5-year term, you've had your variable for 1 year, you can lock into either a 4-year or a 5-year fixed term. If you've had your variable for 2 years, you can lock into either a 3, 4, or 5-year term. Sure. So you always have to keep that 5-year term, but you have the ability to switch it to a fixed whenever you want. So that's the good thing about a variable.
Okay.
Now let's get into this newer product, the 6-month fixed rate term. Now,
6 month fixed rate term. Okay.
6 months fixed rate terms. The rate is fantastic. Sounds great, doesn't it? Good rate.
It does.
You're locked in for 6 months.
Too good to be true.
Yeah, and hey, you know, rates are coming down in 6 months, so it just sounds like the stars line up, right? Okay, but you have to be careful. This has its place. So after that 6 month term, you have to stay with that lender and lock into their 5-year term non-discounted rate. Okay? So non-discounted rate.
So my
They're
first question,
posted.
Ron, is right today, for example, if we were today to go with a 6 month rate, how much cheaper is it than a 5-year rate?
Probably about 0.25%.
Okay, so it's not that massive of a difference.
It's not that massive, and the difference today between the discounted rate and the posted rate is about 0.5%.
Sure. Okay.
So reality is it doesn't. It does have its niche, okay? And I always explain to people its niche is if you need that little bit of extra room with a lower rate to qualify, then that product's not a bad product to get into the home you want. But if you don't need that extra room to qualify, you're better off to take the variable because as the Bank of Canada drops its rates, your rate is going to come down, and then you can lock it in after 6 months. You can lock it in after a year. Like you just have more options.
So essentially, a buyer is pre-approved for say $400,000. But with that little bit of a rate reduction, a 1/4 point, they can now be, squeeze in an extra however much money.
Yeah, I would say $20,000.
$20,000 more on a pro. Okay.
Yeah, they needed $20,000 to qualify.
Sure.
And you put them in the 6 month rate. They qualify. They don't need to re-qualify when they get locked into the 5 years. So they're fine at that point. And when the 5 years is done, obviously their mortgage is paid down enough that they would qualify again. So.
Okay.
It does have its niche. I don't want to talk bad about it, but it is not sounds too good to be true. It probably is.
Okay. Well, like you said, if there's a purpose for it, now I hate to suggest a buyer go to their absolute max every time. That's not a good scenario either.
No, for sure not.
Goodness. What are you seeing out there generally, Ron, as you're working with buyers right now?
So while we are seeing a lot of people go to their max, we're seeing a lot of parents co-sign to above the first-time home buyer's max, which puts them in a really tough spot. I had somebody that his mortgage would have been more than what he made, and I advised them and the parents that this is not a good idea to buy this house because the kid can't even buy food at that point.
Oh my!
So there's a point where you're not helping them anymore, right?
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, Ron, great tips as always. How does a listener reach out if they have any questions, if they want to get pre-approved, or if they want to look at refinancing?
They can always give me a call on my cell phone. It's 519-791-2961, and they can reach out to one of your lovely agents.
Awesome. Ron Bondy with the Super Mortgage Team. Thanks as always. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy
Thanks, Ron.
Nice weather.
Yes. Oh, you too. There you go. Ron Bondy with the Super Mortgage Team. Some great tips there, Kath. Yeah, interesting, isn't it?
It's very interesting. And I love it when he comes into our meetings because
Yes.
he always explains things right down to the, what do you call it?
Nitty-gritty.
Yeah, like so that we can all get
understand.
it. And good advice.
Simplifies it for sure.
He simplifies it and gives you some things you just didn't think of because it's not what we do every day.
No,
So it's
exactly.
really, really good, especially for first-time buyers.
100%.
Especially. He's helped so many of my clients,
I know.
and
It's
they love
great.
him.
It's great.
He's really good with them.
Okay, so if you have any questions, reach out to Ron or reach out to one of us. We could put you in touch with Ron Bondy. But if you just Google Ron Bondy, Super Mortgage Team, it'll pop up. His information will pop up there for sure. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back and get back to our fun question. And Kath, what do you say we give away a gift card for the Richmond Popcorn Company?
Sure.
We're going to give away the gift card to caller number
8.
Caller number 8 right now, 519-792-2559, 519-792-CKLW. You get the gift card for the Richmond Popcorn Company, open all weekend, and you can find them online at richmondpopcorn.com. gemuspopcorn.com. Taste test all their flavors there in store at absolutely no cost. And try. I know that. So listen, funny story actually, before I go to break. This weekend I popped down there and I said, Carissa, do you have any truffle and herbs? My favorite right now is truffle and herbs. It's a very light flavor, and it just has a beautiful, like, just salt and herby taste to it.
Not too sweet?
No, it's not sweet at all. It's just very plain with just black truffle oil.
Oh, truffle
and some,
oil.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So anyways, it's delicious. So I go down. She's like, we have one bag left. I grab it. She calls me not a half hour later. She says, you won't believe it. I said, what? She says, a radio show listener popped in and asked for truffle and herbs. And she got to tell him Dan actually came down and got the last one. I'm like, whoops. So if you're the listener that popped into the store this week, my apologies. It was really good.
Now you should have turned around and went right back with your bag of popcorn.
I already ate it. It was already gone. It was already
okay.
gone. So sorry about that, folks.
I haven't tried that one.
Oh, it's delicious. Yep. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so we'll take a break, come back with lots more right here on the Dan Gemus Real Estate Show.